Shadow Corner family, it's your friendly neighborhood life coach, Cyan Gates. It has been a while since we actually had a recording. Gave myself a tea break. I went to a Stray Kids concert. It was a lot of fun. If you don't know who Stray Kids is, you really should look them up. They're a really good K-pop band, and their concerts are a lot of fun. But I just needed that moment of break because even with everything that surrounds you, you need a break every once in a while. To give you an update on for me, also in pertaining to this break, I am getting married in 2 weeks, so it has been a lot going on. So, but bear with me. We will have a lot of content for you as well as a lot of exciting guests. So, I first want to talk about in today's episode about labels. Now, we could talk about the shadows all day long, but there's so many different aspects that come to it. So when you think about labels, the things and the titles that's attached to you, do you ever stop to think about what the shadow side of those labels means or what weight do they carry? Well, our guest today, he's going to talk about the shadow side of the diagnosis. And I want to make sure that everyone understands what that means. So today on Shadow Corner, we're joined by a truly inspiring guest. Baba Sam Shelley is also known as the Miracle Man. After spending 38 years battling multiple sclerosis, bipolar disorder, migraines, and other chronic conditions labeled as incurable, Baba Sam reached a breaking point. But instead of giving up, he discovered a path to inner peace, one that led a miraculous, spontaneous healing. Now, completely free of his disease and disability, Baba has made it his mission to help others break free from the limited beliefs and limited diagnoses. As the founder of Vibrant Soul Society, Beyond Head Trash, and then the Inner Healer School, he empowers those living with chronic illnesses to awaken their inner healer and reclaims a vibrant, joyful life. Get ready for a powerful conversation about transformation, possibility, and the healing power within. Ladies and gentlemen, Baba Sam. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Cyan. Thanks for having me here, and congratulations once again on your upcoming marriage. Exciting times.
It is. It's like I know sometimes it's like very stressful because organization because I am like OCD when it comes to that type of stuff, but we are getting through. Our brain is clear. We've had moments, so I think we're good to go.
That's great to
So
hear. Just slow it down and just do what you can do, and you know it's going to all work out perfectly.
yeah, that is. I think in so many terms, I think that's a shadow that I'm still working on.
Mm.
Because it's like I'm so used to like my the people around me moving at a faster pace that it's like you feel like you have to go and jolt forward, and then you're so used to the labels that are put on you when you do so that you don't know how to put them down. So can you take us back to the moment you realized something had to change in your life, and then when you grew tired of it, like sick and tired?
Yeah, so that was the thing with me, that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, but I didn't know a way out because I was really identified and trapped in my labels. That's what we're talking about. Our labels have a shadow side, a negative bias, a darkness to them. So when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and lost the ability to walk, I was reading everything I could about multiple sclerosis, unknowingly was keeping this in place because it was talked about like all the difficulties with MS, then reading about all the medications and all the side effects that come with this. So I was reinforcing that shadow, and I had no idea I was doing that because, as you know, a shadow is typically a hidden thing that we're not aware of until we step back from that. We can't see another way because we're too close into it, we're too involved. And it's really hard when you're really dealing with a lot of pain, suffering, a lot of discomfort, because I was constantly waking up, what else is going to go wrong today? And that's a really good example of a shadow, what's going to go wrong. And that becomes a label and a shadow itself. As you're talking about, with your upcoming wedding, there's probably some shadows that you need to deal with in there as well. And just to realize we just need to slow it down and just look where we're not responding to a situation, where we're reacting to a situation. Reactivity is usually a good indication of a shadow, because a shadow gets you into these patterns, these habits that are not supportive. So it's really about breaking it down, slowing down. So in my case, I had no idea like all my shadows. I was too identified with them. They were me. And we hear this with individuals. I am depressed. I have bipolar. I have multiple sclerosis. I have arthritis. I have taking an ownership of that. But just to see that is the condition of the body. It's not who you really are, the one that sees through the eyes or the one that listens, that we had all these changing bodies. But the one thing that did not change was the awareness, that consciousness, that spirit, the soul within us. So for me, what changed everything was I was really trapped in this world. And so I needed to have an experience to get me to see that there was a different reality. So for me, I actually, because with multiple sclerosis, I was a couch potato and watched a lot of TV. I used to watch ghost hunting shows, but I never thought it was real or fake because it was TV. So it was like, okay, it's TV, it's fun to watch, but I don't know if ghosts are real or not. So I saw a tweet from a ghost hunter in Philadelphia. He's like, oh, I can go to this event. Well, I had some interesting experiences there. But the one experience that really got my attention, I was just sitting on a bench, not much was happening. Then I felt somebody sitting right next to me that didn't have a body. It's like, oh, that's interesting. So ghosts are real. Because, when you're sitting someplace, you can feel when somebody's sitting next to you. So I felt somebody sitting next to me, but when I looked over, there was no one there. Then I just felt this overwhelming sense of dread come over me. It's like, oh, that's interesting. So after this event, I couldn't stay there very long for the multiple sclerosis. But after the event, I was curious, like, okay, what did I experience here? That ghosts are real. And I just didn't leave it at that. I was curious enough to explore it. Okay, so ghosts are real. So who speaks to ghosts? Oh, mediums. So let me go read a book from a medium. And mediums talk to ghosts or spirits, because to realize we are spirits, ghosts are simply spirits without bodies. So we're always in the spiritual realm and just currently in this human body. So I was reading this book from a medium, and they talked about meditation. And there wasn't much talk on meditation, just a page and a half. But they talked about the benefits of meditation. So one of the benefits that really jumped out at me was inner peace. It's like, oh, I need some inner peace. I'm so stressed out. I'm so overwhelmed with life. I need some peace. I had no concept that this would create healing. That wasn't my focus. My focus was I just needed some peace. So with this book talking about meditation, it didn't really give much instructions. It was a page and a half, but just to relax and to sit quietly was basically the instructions. So, but I was under the impression, because I never had a spiritual teacher, I wasn't reading many books on meditation, just meditation equals inner peace. Like, okay, I need some inner peace. So I was just sitting there in meditation, but I was under the impression that meditation means you stop thinking. So my mind would start thinking like the mind naturally does. Then it would be stop thinking, mind thinking, stop thinking, mind thinking, stop thinking. Then it was about 3 or 4 days and said, wait a second. That's a thought chasing a thought. If I'm aware of my thoughts, I'm not my thoughts. This was a huge realization for me that I wasn't my thoughts because I took my thoughts as my truth and nearly killed myself twice in my 20s because I took that thought as truth. So once I had that realization that it wasn't my thoughts, my whole world really shifted at that point. Then I was sitting there, well, if I'm not my thoughts, this identity, this personality, then who am I? So I was sitting with this question now with who am I? But I was just sitting for 5 minutes twice a day. I did not have a very long practice. So basically, when the mind would start thinking, I'd be like, where are my feet? Mind thinking, come back to my feet. So that's what I was doing. But now I was having the attention, setting that question, well, who am I? Just sitting with that question. So after about 2 weeks after sitting with this question, I just heard a voice say, perfect spirit. I'm like, that's it. My spirit is perfect. It's simply the body that are damaged, the mind and body that are damaged. And we have to remember that we're all perfect spirit, that we are soul, spirit, consciousness. So I had that confirmation that I'm perfect spirit, just as you are saying, perfect spirit, the audience is perfect spirit. Then I felt this great sense of peace come over me. Then I just knew all is well, and all fear about my health was simply gone that day after hearing that voice. Whether we call it the voice of soul, of spirit, of God, it really doesn't matter. But it's just that voice is just a reminder, a calm reminder that you are perfect spirit. Then I knew, my health challenges were over at that point. It took a little time for the body to catch up to that because I had 6 of these incurable diagnoses, these labels, but eventually the body did catch up because it was just following my own intuition, or I would hear this voice guiding me on the next step. So I was never trying to heal myself or fix myself. This is beyond what the mind could do because the mind doesn't know any clue, like how do you reverse MS, how do you reverse bipolar arthritis. The mind has no clue, but the essence, the spirit within us, or as I like to say, the creator of miracles, knows exactly how to create that miracle in your life if we can get that mind out of the way that's interfering. And I'll just pause and break here because I know that was quite a lot of information.
No, because what is my brain trying to say? No, because that's the definition of your story. And I don't think a lot of people know that. Like, I have a couple friends that is like they want to get you to get straight to the point, but I'm the type of person that's like I need the definition, like what the beginning, middle, end, so that way I can understand you at its core. So no, you're safe. You're good to go with that. I do want to talk to you about, we've spoken about inner being peace being a turning point. What practice and mindset shifts helps you reach that state? And how can others begin to process that? Because I know you talked about meditation, but there are like different forms of meditation. Your
Yeah,
meditation may coincide with another person, because there's some people that have what's called the monkey brain, where it's like it's constantly going no matter what they do. Even if they're sleeping, it's still having a house party with all the raves and all the lights and everything, and it's like they can never shut it off. So how can others begin their process, even when their meditation doesn't look like yours?
right. Because, like I said, I didn't have any instructions to meditation. If you told my bipolar OCD brain, here are the rules to meditation, my mind would have been obsessed. Am I sitting right? Am I holding my hands right? Am I breathing properly? All these rules to meditation. So, really, I didn't have a formal meditation process. It was more of a mindfulness process. A mindfulness process is just to understand that you're present in this moment. So, it was either the mind thinking. So, when the mind was thinking, where are my feet? So this was really the power of now that a lot of teachers talk about, like Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. It's just being here in this moment that, oh, my feet are on the ground. Oh, mind thinking? I'm here. So a good example of this, so if you really have this monkey mind, what I call the head trash, because it's really ruminating on all those stories that we can't change, it's really the head trash. We need to throw that out. So the way we throw out that head trash is by being here in this moment, because we're either lost in thoughts in the mind or we're aware of this moment, like where are my feet? Where am I sitting? I'm breathing and just coming back into this moment. Oh, Cyan's wearing a gray shirt today. And it's just really doing these things to bring yourself back. So I'm working with people dealing with panic attacks and they're afraid to go into a store, they're afraid to go into a checkout line because they have all these stories that can be judged, criticized, and the mind just really going a mile a minute. What I do with these individuals that are dealing with panic attacks, when you walk in the store, what's the color of the floor? What's the music you hear? What are you noticing with the people? And just having them really engage themselves in being here in this moment. So just go into the store, buy that item, but don't hang around. Be quick about it. Maybe a minute or two of being fully present to get what you need out of the store, and then come out. Then look what you did. You didn't allow the mind to win, if you will. That you decided that I'm taking my power back. And all of our power is in this moment. And when we're lost in the mind, we're not able to sleep. We're stressed out. We're overwhelmed because the mind is in control. The way we take back control from the mind is simply being here in the way that works for you. And that's why I said there's no rules, there are no requirements. For me, it was coming back to my feet on the floor. To you, it could be touching your hands, it could be looking at the floor, it could be looking at the wall. You have to find out what works for you. And ultimately, it's a discovery what's going to pull you out of the mind and into this moment. And even if you're trying to practice for 5 minutes, and you only brought yourself back into presence once or twice during that 5 minutes, that is perfect because you just put two gaps into the thought stream. The more gaps, the more inner peace. That we really need to simplify things and we need to let go of all judgment, all criticism, that we're doing this right. There is no right way, just the way that works for you. And we need to just slow it down and break the reactivity, because the reactivity is keeping that programming, those habits in place that are not supporting you. So if the mind has a habit of thinking all night so you can't sleep, well, how do we break that habit? So instead of tossing and turning, you sit up for a moment and you bring yourself back into presence. Okay, my feet are on the floor. I look at the clock, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and we just become aware of this moment. We allow the mind to settle down, then we try to sleep. If the mind starts tossing and turning and overthinking again, then we practice again of just bringing ourselves back into presence. Maybe we're just laying in bed this time, we just feel the sheet over us. We feel the temperature of the room. We just come back into presence. So we're either entertaining the mind or we're saying, no, we need a new habit, a new way of being. So I'm going to pull into this moment and to really simplify things.
Okay, so was there well, I know we talked about meditation just came to you because you're self-taught. So my next question is, what does the shadow side of a diagnosis means to you, and how did it show up in your life? I know you talked about like how you had to deal with this for 40 years, correct?
Yeah.
And I know that that took an emotional, physical, and spiritual hold. I know we talked about the spiritual part. So how did it emotionally and physically help you after you got over that?
Yeah, so there's a few things there. So yeah, so for 40 years, my body was quite damaged from the multiple sclerosis, bipolar arthritis, migraines, this litany of things that I had, and it all started at age 6 when I was run over by a van. So that was the beginning of my health challenges from age 6 to age 44, roughly. I was in the state of not doing very well because it caused a lot of damage and injury from the van accident at age 6. But when we start looking at, what are the shadow sides of our labels? When you start reading everything you can about that, and you start developing this negative bias that we really can get attached to this incurable label. So if we read everything and watch videos that confirm that this is indeed incurable, it makes that shadow, that darkness, even greater. So it's looking for things that my body is behaving this way. So why is it incurable? When I'm working with a lot of Parkinson's patients, I bring them into the space of who they really are, and I'll ask them, has your spirit, has your soul ever said that you were incurable, that you were beyond becoming healthy, beyond being fixed? And their answer is always no, that this incurable story is not coming from our spirit, our soul, our consciousness. Because we have to understand that the energy within us is the energy that has created this house, this body, this planet, this galaxy, this universe. It's the energy of God, you could say. And there's nothing that God cannot do, if this term makes sense to you. We have to realize that we are made in the image of the Creator, as it states in the Bible. So we have to understand that we have that power as well. And the mind is simply interfering. If we get that mind aside and we allow spirit to lead the way, then all things are becoming possible. This is one of my greatest benefits, is when I saw the mind was no longer the source of truth. It no longer held power over me. So I was following this deeper knowing, this deeper voice, to do this, to do that. And over the course of 14 months, my body completely recovered. I've been healthy now for over 13 years just by not figuring it out, not fighting, not engaging the mind, of realizing I know the answer within me. It's a deeper knowing, and we just need to follow those breadcrumbs, because your soul, your spirit, the creator of miracles, is not going to give you proof, justification, reasons. It's just going to give you a knowing. I need to go do this now. I need to go eat this now. I need to go do this. It's not going to judge you or condemn you. Oh, you didn't do this or that. Nope, just going to keep reminding you, follow the breadcrumbs step by step by step.
Okay, so let's switch gears here. So we've talked about you and how it started and how it's going. So tell us about the Vibrant Soul Society and beyond head trash and the inner school. Like, what inspired you to like these creations, and how do they serve your people, and how does it serve you?
Well, we have to remember, because I also have my podcast, and my big mission is to see that we have thoughts, but we are not our thoughts. We are greater than our thoughts. And beyond our thoughts, beyond this body, is our vibrant soul. And it's always illuminating the path forward. So the Vibrant Soul Society is just a community to remind us of who we really are, and that we need to go beyond this head trash. All those negative stories that you can't do this, you can't do that, you're the wrong sex, you're the wrong age, you don't have the right degree, you don't have the right training, and the mind will just keep yammering on the things that you are lacking and all these limitations. That's the head trash. So we need to go beyond that. And to once we go beyond that, we're into our vibrant soul. And once we're in the vibrant soul, then we're aligned with our own inner healer. Now, the inner healer isn't just for physical health. It knows the way forward for finances, relationships, careers, 1,001 things that we're experiencing in the human experience, that we're trying to figure it out, or we're trying to battle or fight. There's no reason to, because within you is the answer. You are the solution. But we are constantly taught to seek outside of ourselves, when we just need to be quiet and trust our own impulses And then sometimes those impulses are not internal. So you may be sitting quietly and you're not getting the answer, but then you're getting the insight. I need to go watch this video. I need to go read that book. I need to go talk to this person. And they give you the answer because we are one in consciousness. And the answer may not be within us, but it will be presented to us outside of us. So we can get that intuition is both internal and external, that we need to best pay attention to. I'm looking for the answer for this to solve this problem. Well, the universe is delivering that. Are you paying attention?
Okay. So for someone listening right now who feels stuck in their diagnosis or identify of illness, like what is the small step they can take towards healing?
Well, first of all, the first rule of healing is don't focus on healing. Because focusing on healing, focusing on what's wrong with the body, will actually keep that in place. So the first rule of healing is not to focus on healing. It's just to notice where the body needs some attention. So just notice if the body is in pain, discomfort. We just sit with that without the label, without a diagnosis, and saying, okay, I'm feeling some leg pain. How do I best address this? And we don't mentally figure it out. We're just sitting with that and we're just doing what feels right to us. We're going beyond logic because miracles don't adhere to scientific rules, logic. Miracles is coming from this deeper place that just to do this, to do that, to acknowledge where the body has discomfort and to sit with that and see how best to address. But it's never a mental figuring it out because the first step to healing is not to focus on healing, is start to learn to come back into this moment, to realize most people are not present. They're not aware that they're sitting right now, that they're listening, that their feet are on the floor. That's being present. They're caught up in the thoughts, the story. So the first step is just to learn to be present. But healing is not about focusing on healing because that's going to keep the wrong in place because you're focusing on what's wrong as opposed to how I can best support this body that is in discomfort. So the first step is always to work on being present. If you're not present, then nothing can change. You're just going to keep the habit and programming in place. So the first step is really to learn to be present. That most people aren't even aware that they're sitting, that their feet are on the floor, that they're listening. They're just caught up in the story and trying to interpret what's going on. But just to relax and be here to the best of your ability, to let go of all judgment, all criticism, and just simply being here is enough.
That's gonna make me think for a little bit. Okay, so if you could leave us with one truth about healing and transformation that has stayed with us, what would it be?
Yeah, we have to understand if we really want to define truth is that thing that does not change. Like you had a toddler body, a teenager body, a young adult body, the body you have now. So that's always changing. That's not truth. The body's always changing. So we're looking at these stories, they're always changing. So that's not truth. Even science, they make new discoveries all the time. So that's not truth because science is changing. We're no longer a flat earth. We understand viruses, bacteria, things have changed. So the truth we have to remember is that thing that doesn't change. So the one that sees through the eyes, the one that listens, the one that touches, the one that is here in this moment, that is the truth. It's just coming back into this moment. When you're in this moment, there's a peace, there's a calm, there's a gentleness, because there's no judging, there's no criticism, there's no entertaining the labels, the thoughts, the stories. We're just simply being here. And that's enough, is just to be here. To be here is the truth, because the truth is now, here in this moment. That's the truth.
Okay, so Baba, how can people find you? How can people connect with you? Let us know here.
Yeah, so they can find me over at, Beyond Head Trash. They can find my website there, and I have some free giveaways there, like how to awaken our own inner healer. My first book is there. They can get that for free as well. And to just look on social media, I'm all over the place. I'm creating a lot of videos, nearly 700 videos on YouTube. I have my Heal Yourself Without Trying group on Facebook, because we need to remember healing is not about trying. Trying keeps things in place. So it's Heal Yourself Without Trying, Minutes to Miracles. The miracles happen instantly. There's no degree of difficulties in miracles, just being here and unlocking that. So you can find me all over the place at Baba Sam Shelley, or Sam the Miracle Man, Beyond Head Trash, Vibrant Soul Society, the Inner Healer School. I'm around because I lived in suffering, pain for 40 years. There is a way out, and you are that way out. That deeper essence within you is leading you that way out, whether it's physical health, finances, careers, relationships, 1,001 things. You are the solution. So trust yourself, believe in yourself. So thank you, Sayan. I've really enjoyed talking with you today.
I did too, but you cannot run because we have one last question, and this is the question I ask every single guest. If you could give advice to your younger self, maybe middle self, older self, any time period, what would you say to them now, while you're at this point in your life?
I would say relax. You're doing your absolute best in this moment based on your level of awareness, your alertness, and your understanding of this moment. So, the best thing to do is to relax and to bring yourself into this moment, to break away from those stories, but to let go of all judgment, all criticism, because you are indeed doing your best in this moment based on your alertness and understanding. And the mind will always look back and say, you could have, should have done this. And that's nonsense. We're always doing our best in this moment. So the best thing is to relax and just learn to be here.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, giving us all these pearls of wisdom, and allowing us to just be. And I am conducting a circle uh, platform, and I would love for you to be a part of it. So that way we can not just convene with me and you, it'll be others like us. So that way we can have like a group discussion. Would you be okay with that?
Yes, perfect, because my community, Vibrant Soul Society, is also on Circle.
Oh, please. So that's perfect. So we will see you soon.
Sounds great. Thank you. Lots of love and blessings to everyone. You have this. Just believe in yourself and you're good to go.
Alrighty, good people. As always, I don't talk too long, but I do sum up. So, being present and understanding your way of being, your level of consciousness, your inner knowing, where you are right now is your best teacher. A lot of times we look to spiritual healers, our friends or family, or anybody that has a certain impact in our life, and we think that they know best sometimes. Keyword in that sentence is sometimes, because only you are the co-creator of what you want to do now, as well as the co-creator of what you're going to do next. Spirit can only work through you if you allow it. So just be very mindful of your thoughts, your feelings, and your reactions, because those belong to you. We can have as many labels in the world: teacher, practitioner, uh, any other label that you've been called your whole life. But the one thing that we usually forget is the label of self and being present And when you understand exactly what that means of being present with yourself, feeling your toes, feeling your fingers, blinking your eyes, we get to that state where we actually know that we're not just having a human experience. We're actually having a moment where we personally know that we are in the here and now. I appreciate you coming on Shadow Corner, and just like that, I shall see you next time.